All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to get into that big old deep dive. So let's go ahead and get the formalities out of the way, shall we? Yes. Yo, peoples! I forgot to put the One Piece logo up. What am I doing? I almost forgot the most crucial part to look like an official One Piece fan. Have the logo. But yo, peoples, Kyushu92 here, and welcome to September's One Piece Reflections. We got 3 chapters in September, and all of them were good, including the last one we got that pretty much starts the newest arc for the series. And yeah, let's go ahead and talk about it. We got chapters 1059, 1060, and 1061. Let's go ahead and get started with the very first chapter, the matter concerning Captain Kobe. Now, in this one, we finally find out what happened when Kobe finally reached Amazon Lily. Matter of fact, let me do this, because I want to be able to see your faces while I have this off to the side. Well, not your faces, but see chat. So let me pop out chat real quick. Ogata-san, good to see you. Sorry if I'm being a little bit late. I know I said 2 o'clock, but I had to push it back in order to eat some lunch. So apologies for that. So, we got the matter concerning Captain Kobe. And Kobe, we see near Whitebeard's home, we pretty much see that Marco hitched a ride with Shanks and the crew. Sorry about One Punch Man. Should have warned you ahead of time about the chapter differences. It's fine. It's fine. And here's the thing about that, Ogata-san. You didn't spoil anything for me because after looking up the details concerning the difference between the webcomic and the actual physical manga itself, since One is the one who does the storyboard and okays everything concerning One Punch Man, both versions are considered valid. So you didn't spoil anything for me. That's just a different version of One Punch Man that is also canon. So don't worry, you didn't spoil anything for me. It may be different, but it's still the same story. So you're fine. Don't worry about it. I just didn't know that there were differences with One Punch Man, but don't worry, you didn't spoil anything for me, because it's completely different in both versions. So, but they're all considered valid, so you're fine. But Marco hitched a ride on the Red Force with Shanks and his crew, and is talking about Luffy and the crew, with him going, well, so long, thanks for the ride, and what, you aren't going to join our crew, Marco? And he says, don't be crazy. I've spent enough of my life babysitting big-time pirates. And then it shows him flying away as Shanks goes, whatever, I'm not a handful. Tell him, Beck. And then Beck says he's a handful. And then Lucky Roo's laughing in the background. And then it shows Marco flying off as he's thinking back to talking to Yamato and the rest of the crew. Because it cuts to earlier in Wano. And it cuts to Luffy going, you're not going with us? Come on, we'll be pirates together. You can't do this to Yamato. And then Sanji's upset that Yamato's not going with them. And then Yamato says, you know what happened, don't you? When that woodsman attacked, it was someone's incredible hockey that kept him at bay and saved the country. Kaido's not around anymore, but next it'll be guys like him coming after Wano. I can't turn my back on everyone now. And a lot of people were really upset that not only Carrot, but Yamato didn't go with the Straw Hats once all was said and done. The fact that Carrot became the new king of the Mokumo Dukedom, and now Yamato staying behind saying that he wants to do everything that Odin did in his life before he sets out to sea, we have that pretty much just makes it so that they don't go with the Straw Hats right now. And Yamato says you can't go adventuring if you've got worries in the back of your mind, right? That goes for me and for you. I want to be part of the crew. Call me your crewmate. And Luffy says, yeah, I get it, but I guess this way is more reassuring for us too. Take care of Momo and the others for us then. And then Yamato says that he will. And then it cuts to Zoro as he goes, just remember that Momo's got a lot of pride, Yamato. I know I'm going to search for something to keep myself busy. And then it has Marco flying up to the rest of the crew as he goes, hey, Straw Hat, Mugiwara do yoi. There's a ship nearby that'd be perfect for me to hitch a ride on. I'm gonna go ahead and bounce soon. Marco's, you're leaving. So he thanks Marco for everything that the Whitebeard pirates did for him during the Paramount War. And he says, I'm sure Ace is delighted to have seen how much you've grown. And then as he flies off, he goes, this next era belongs to you guys, so keep your wits about you. And it shows him flying to Sphinx. It shows him flying off of the Red Forest to Sphinx. Then we cut to Amazon Lily, where a battle has happened, and we see that half of the mountain that used to be, completely together on Amazon Lily, that's been sliced through, but we don't find out what happens until later in the chapter, which was insane, by the way. So, Island of Women, Amazon Lily, Calm Belt. It's been ages since men invaded us so heavily. The damage to the town is severe. The Navy will always come as long as I am here. Where am I to go? And then it's just Hancock saying that I just want to be married to Luffy. At this point, I just want to be married to Luffy. And then Granny Inos just says, you mean at every point? And it was weeks earlier, the Navy came to Amazon Lily and pretty much just started bombarding the place. And we have Vice Admiral Yamakaji there as he's going, send the new Seraphim Pacifistas to the fore. Please activate the recording cameras. So here's one thing that I never really took note of. If they say activate the recording cameras, this must be the first time they use the Seraphim. This was the test run for the Seraphim Pacifistas. I didn't really put two and two together when I saw through that, but with them saying, please activate the recording cameras, this was them putting the Seraphim Pacifistas out in the field for the first time. This was the field test right here on Amazon Lily. And then we have, actually, you know what? Let me do this. One Piece, because I want to get all the notes down just in case I miss something. Chapter 1059. That cough really doesn't want to leave me. It's not permanent. It's just that it's taking a little bit longer than normal. Even though I'm back in physical form, that cough just doesn't want to leave. Let me see. So, as some of the women of Amazon Lily are getting bombarded, they see a little girl who has flames on her back, which is akin to King as a Lunarian. He has like black wings and a flame spot on his back, which pretty much gives him an unimaginable amount of defense as an individual. And whatever this thing is, it's firing pacifista blasts. Basically, wow, I never put two and two together, but he mixed the devil fruit powers of Kizaru. Vegapunk did. Mixed the powers of Kizaru and his Pika Pika no Mi, and then mixed the powers of a Lunarian and created these Seraphim Pacifistas, who we find out are basically we'll find out in a minute. This Seraphim Pacifista just starts blowing up ginormous portions of Amazon Lily. And then it cuts to another Navy person saying, watch your stern, all battleships, because the Blackbeard pirates come in. And Blackbeard, using the Gura Gura no Mi, he pretty much creates a path. He causes a tsunami that just swipes up a whole bunch of Navy ships and makes his way onto Amazon Lily with Catarina Devon and Vasco Shot. Now, mind you, this is the first time that Vasco Shot has been seen during the time skip at all. Like, we've seen everybody else. But this is, this is the first time we see Vasco Shot since the time skip. We saw Lafitte, we saw Burgess, we saw Shiryu. Did we see Avalo Pizarro? I think we have. But Catarina Devon we've seen. The only person we really haven't seen since the time skip is San Juan Wolf. It's been a minute since we last seen him. But the Blackbeard pirates make their way onto Amazon Lily saying, I've come for you, pirate princess. I won't let the Navy have your power. Which means that all the way back then in previous chapters when he said, the Navy's on its move, then fine. I'll make sure I make that power mine. At the point at that point, I was thinking, is he making his way towards Sabo? Because it had the events about Sabo and the revolutionaries, assaulting Marijois. So at the time, I thought that Blackbeard meant going to Marijois to get Sabo's power. I incorrectly thought that. But no. What he saw in the newspaper was the 7 warlords being abolished, and seeing that Hancock was going to be seen as a criminal in the eyes of the Marines, and the Marines were going to go after her. He wanted Hancock's power, the ability to turn people to stone. Yeah, we saw Pete Soto in chapter 925, and we only got a silhouette of Van Augur. So Doc Q, Van Augur, and San Juan Wolf are the only ones that we haven't seen since the time skip yet. We're just now seeing Vasco shot. So those 3 members of the Blackbeard Pirates are the only ones that we haven't seen. Thank you, Ogata-san. I can always count on you to let me know stuff that I don't know off the top of my head. I don't have Tekking's level of knowledge, nor Roger bases, but thank you. But that's what Blackbeard was coming to do. As soon as he says, like, okay, let's go, you guys, I won't let the Navy take that power, or I won't let them have that power. And it turns out that he was coming to Amazon Lily to take the power of Hancock. So as this goes on, Katarina Devon says, oh, Hancock, that beautiful face, I'd love to cut off her head to be my latest treasure. Now, one thing we know about Katarina Devon, and this is what I looked up, is that she has a hobby of taking the heads of beautiful women and just having them on display. That is just one of her hobbies. This was actually put in her Vivre card. That's one of her hobbies is, beheading beautiful women and then just displaying them. So when she says, I love to cut off her head to be my latest treasure, that's not a figure of speech. That's something she does. And then Vasco Shot goes, come on, don't you want to take her back with us alive so we can be good friends with her? And Vasco Shot is drunk, so you probably need to keep Hancock away from him. And then Blackbeard says, like, yeah, you can cut her head off as long as I, get... Ooh, Neil Johnson, 7 months a member. Missed all the streams this month, but happy to make it today. Neil Johnson, 7 months. I can't believe I've had a member for 7 months. Oh my goodness, that's amazing to me. 7 months. Has it really been that long since I had my membership up? I think I started it back in February, I think. No, I think it was January. But to think 7 months. Man, it's been so long. Good to see you, Neil. But Blackbeard says, yeah, you can cut her head off. Just as long as I get those powers first. And then it has the Navy talking to Yamakaji going, give us the order to attack Blackbeard. And then Yamakaji is all like, wait for clearance from HQ. Because clearly he wants the Seraphim Pacifistas to stand up against them, or he knows that with all the manpower he has, it's still not going to be enough to go up against Blackbeard. Let's not forget, the dude is still a Yonko and also incredibly strong. You make great content. Happy to support. Well, thank you, Neil. Thank you. It really does help me because, this is my job now. So I greatly appreciate the support. You have no idea. It really does help me. It allows me to keep doing what I'm doing because I have no intentions of going back to a manual labor job again. I want to be happy and this makes me happy. But either Yamakaji wanted to stay behind and just wait for clearance because he doesn't want to get too presumptuous and trying to take on Blackbeard and his crew. Because let's not forget the titles of all of his captains that are on the Blackbeard Pirates fleet. They're all called the 10 Titanic captains. They all are massively strong all on their own. But Blackbeard uses the Goro no Mi to launch some Navy soldiers backwards. Like he just breaks the air and then just launches them back as he says, I'm not here for you, lot. And then it has people screaming out, it has him screaming out, get out here, Boa Hancock. And Kobe's there. as he's standing in front of the main palace of Amazon Lily, of the Kuja, and he says, "Please, Hancock, the Navy does not want to fight you. We simply take you into custody and leave, I promise." And then it cuts to Sander, Sonia, and Marigold. I remember their name. I didn't even look it up. Sander, Sonia, and Marigold saying, "Let us handle him, sister. Don't get full of yourself, Kobe, the so-called hero." And Hancock goes, "This is nonsense. I will not belong to anyone. I follow no man's orders." And then she steps out and she goes, as her sisters go, "Don't do it, sister." Then it cuts to some of Blackbeard's crew members, like the smaller members, you know, the normal size people that follow under him. They get slashed by something, and they go, "Save us, Commodore Teach. Nothing works against this one." "Huh? Whoa, you kidding me? White hair, brown skin, black wings." So this cuts back to how Blackbeard knows of the Lunarians. This was way back when Marco was talking to Whitebeard, and the thought of a kingdom that once existed on the Red Line, well before the world government, and the citizens there had black wings and they were called Lunarians. This was a story that Marco brought up, which brings to mind that Blackbeard knows of the Lunarians because Blackbeard was still on Whitebeard's ship when this story was being told, which explains why Blackbeard knows about the Lunarians and why they are so familiar to him. But we see one of these Lunarians that is holding Mihawk's sword, or at least a sword that's fashioned like his. And he's looking at Blackbeard standing over the bodies of Blackbeard's crewmates that tried to fight him. And then it slashes in the direction of Blackbeard, and there's a PX on the side of the chest of it, but you don't see the rest of it. You don't see any numbers next to the PX. You can just make it out on the side of the panel. And Blackbeard goes, "PX." And then with one swipe, this one Seraphim Pacifista slices clean through the mountain of Amazon Lily in one go. Just in one swipe, just completely cleaves through the mountain. So what used to be like a big mountain with two loops, it gets sliced diagonally, and now it only has one loop because that other half of the mountain has been completely cut through. Blast it, they got a little kid pacifista? What does it mean? And then it shows that Blackbeard is able to use armament hockey as he defends himself against this Mihawk pacifista. It's huge. And then Blackbeard uses Black Hole on the Kuja town. And then it cuts to Boa Hancock using Slave Arrow against all of the Navy officials and the Blackbeard pirates that tried to attack her. And Helmeppo got hit, Yamakaji got hit, and standing there is one of the pacifistas as it's blasting everyone around him, including people that are under the effects of Slave Arrow and the Mero Mero no Mi. And Hancock uses perfume, and before she can use perfume femur, which we've seen before, is where she basically just, in a massive spin, she just this cough just wants to interrupt everything. She's able to hit people with extreme force while also turning them to stone at the exact same time. Before she can even use perfume femur, can't tell, did the Seraphim get sucked up in the black hole? That's the thing. The Seraphim Pacifista is not there anymore, nor do you see it in the panel here where Blackbeard uses Black Hole. And you don't see it jump away from Blackbeard. You don't see any jump away lines or any indication that the Mihawk Seraphim, jumped away or got away from Blackbeard. You just see Blackbeard use Black Hole, and it cuts away. So I don't know if that particular Seraphim got sucked up into Black Hole and is trapped there now, or if it just launched someplace altogether. But Hancock tries to use perfume femur, and then it shows that Blackbeard got a hold of Hancock before she can use her powers. And using his power of the Yami Yami no Mi keeps her from being able to use the Mero Mero no Mi. And it turns out that when she used when she used when she used Slave Arrow, both Vasco Shot and Katarina Devon got hit as well. I hope there's a Buggy Seraph, and I hope it does something spectacular that makes the original Buggy fail upwards again. Of course. Here's the thing. I wouldn't be surprised if Buggy sees the Seraphim Pacifista, and then the rest of his crew just think it's his kid or something. And they think, like, Captain Buggy's a dad? Because, you know, his entire crew is so oblivious and stupid that they would probably believe that. But Blackbeard gets a hold of Hancock, and we see her bounty, which is $1 billion now. It wasn't that large before. Matter of fact, if I pull up, where is Hancock? There she is. Her bounty wasn't in the billion range before. They raised it off of its previous amount. It was once 88 million. It was 88 million before. Well, not 88 million, 80 million. 80 million. But after the warlords got abolished, they raised her bounty to be 1 billion. And that makes her bounty greater than Katakuri's. I wonder, does it make her bounty bigger than Queen's? One Piece film Buggy? The genius One Piece film Buggy. The genius gesture. But Hancock's bounty went from 80 million to 1,659,000,000. But it shows Blackbeard, and he has Hancock by the throat going, so I guess the Pirate Empress title wasn't just for show. And it shows Blackbeard's bounty, whose bounty is 3.996 billion berries. Would Loki do numbers in the theater? I think so, because people like Buggy, and people are holding on. People are holding on for the greatness that is Buggy. So One Piece film Buggy, yeah, it do some numbers. The dude fails upwards. How would you think about it? The dude has failed upwards consistently, and everyone just accepts it. Wouldn't be surprised if One Piece film Buggy does phenomenally in the movie theaters, even if it is just a movie about Buggy. She's got a higher bounty than all First Commanders like Queen, Marco, and King, but lower than Crocodile. Look what you've done. You've turned all my idiots into stone. And it shows pretty much all the people on Kobe's side turn to stone, save for him. Which makes me wonder, how did he not get hit at all? Everybody got hit on the Navy side and Blackbeard's side. Even Katarina Devon and Vasco Shot got hit. But how is it that Kobe avoided the slave arrow? How is it that he avoided that? We know what Marco's bounty is? I don't think so. I don't think we know Marco's bounty. Hold on, I'm looking it up. Oh yeah, we do. But his bounty is smaller than Hancock's. His bounty is 1,374,000,000, with hers being 1.6 billion. So her bounty is in fact bigger than Marco's. So Blackbeard is saying, look what you've done. You turn all my idiots into stone. Hey, Grant, what's going on? Marco's bounty was revealed. Yeah, I literally just looked it up. Look what you've done. You turn all my idiots into stone. I've been hoping to get your powers. And then Hancock, who's, actually showing an injury for the very first time. Actual blood is being drawn from Boa Hancock. She's one of the people that we've seen in the One Piece series that never incurred any injury in any fight she's ever been in. That included Mihawk as well. We can no longer count Doflamingo due to the events of Dressrosa. We can no longer count Bartholomew Kuma because of him sticking around for 2 years to protect the Sunny. Gecko Moria, that's neither here nor there. Basically, everyone else has drawn blood in some sort of fight except for Boa Hancock and Mihawk. Now, it's just Mihawk. At least from the original Warlords. Mihawk is the only one who is yet to draw any blood from any fight, but now this is the first time that we see someone like Hancock getting harmed. Think Luffy's ultimate gear is time travel. He's going to use it to save his crew. His ultimate gear is time travel. He's going to use it to save his crew. But his crew doesn't need saving, so that seems kind of pointless for Luffy to have, for his gears to have time travel. It's also really ridiculous. Kobe may have used observation haki to avoid Boa's attack, maybe. Yeah, it seems like that, but I was just wondering. It was just a rhetorical thought of mine. It was just a rhetorical thought. But he says, I've been hoping to get your powers. For what purpose, we don't know. And Boa Hancock says, this power is nothing without my beauty. Kill me and your followers will remain petrified. Which means that users of the Mero Mero no Mi, they can induce petrification, and they're the only ones who can undo the petrification. Which means that if you get petrified by the user, and then that user dies, you are never coming back. It functions like the reanimation jutsu. You can kill the user, but the reanimation jutsu will remain. Which is why they always try and get the jutsu caster to undo the jutsu, because then you're left with reanimated people that are basically just immortal and can never die. And the only way that they can get dissipated is by the original caster dispelling the jutsu. The Mero Mero no Mi functions in that same regard. I think she's capping. I don't know. She says the next wielder of the fruit cannot undo the spell. I don't know. Do we know the finite ins and outs of the Mero Mero no Mi? Do we really? There's so much about devil fruits that we do not know at all. Now that we're coming up to the island of Vegapunk, I'm pretty sure we'll start to learn about those a little bit more. But is this something that Boa Hancock would truly bluff? That's the question. Is this something that she would try and bluff her way out of? When you move super fast, you can manipulate time. That's the Flash. Can't apply Flash logic to One Piece. When you move fast enough, you can manipulate time. That's not necessarily true, though. It depends on the media, but this is One Piece, though. If that's true, then Kizaru would be time traveling all the time because he can move at the speed of light. And what's faster than light? If that were true, then Kizaru would have gone back in time so many different times. But that's not the case with One Piece. You moving fast does not mean you can manipulate time. It sounds good, I know it does, but that really holds absolutely no weight in One Piece because it just doesn't. The Flash, we know about, because he can do that, but that's the Flash. This is One Piece. It doesn't apply. It doesn't apply. But Kobe says, Boa Hancock's toughness is beyond anything I imagined. Time travel is stupid for One Piece. Don't mention Toki or my point fails. I mean, there's Toki, but the thing is, it's only forward time travel. It's not the full access to going back and forwards in time. It's only forward. King of Lightning had a theory that Conqueror's Haki fused with observation could slow other people's perception of time. Lint is faster than light, according to the Tick animated series. Lint is hard to grab onto real quick, because as soon as you try and grab it, it swipes out of your hands. So the Tick is actually right. Lint is, in fact, faster than light, because I can easily do something when the lights go on and off, but Lint, it always escapes me. Every time. But King of Lightning had a theory that Conqueror's Haki fused with observation could slow other people's perception of time. That's interesting, because even though we've learned so much about Haki during the events of Wano, we still don't know the ins and outs of Haki. Like, we see all these people who are super knowledgeable about hockey, but we're learning so many brand new concepts of hockey later down the line. And I feel like we still haven't seen the fullest extent of what hockey can do. We just seen another application, a more advanced application. Applications we've seen between Odin and Whitebeard and Roger. We've seen advanced applications, and then we've seen the type that you see from Big Mom and Kaido and now Luffy. But I don't think that's the height. I don't think that's the limit, though. There's so much more about hockey that we still don't know. There's so much One Piece left. But Kobe says, I gotta get through this chapter. Kobe thinks Bo Hancock's toughness is beyond anything I imagined. And this isn't getting us anywhere, is it, Kobe the hero? You helped me out in that Rocky Port incident. So he says Kobe helped him out, but I feel something was going on with Kobe during the Rocky Port incident that allowed him, that basically just allowed, as Blackbeard says, allowed him to gain control of Pirate Island. Can't wait to know more about Shanks' Wi-Fi hockey. I can't wait to find out how you're able to project your hockey all the way from the ocean into the depths, into the deepest part of Wano. I want to know, how strong is your hockey for it to go from out to sea all the way inland? Because Shanks was not in Wano. Shanks was not in the upper half of Wano. He was at the base sea level, I think. Either way, it's still a far distance, but how do you reach from the sea to the island with your conquerors? So thick, extra thick, that it causes an admiral to be all like, yeah, I was planning on killing everybody in order to get to Luffy and deliver his head to Akainu, but I'm done. I'm going. I'm leaving. How strong, how thick is your hockey for it to be all the way at sea and still intimidate an admiral who's miles away from you? We don't know jack about Shanks. We don't know how strong this man is because we have yet to see him actually fight. That's scary. I gotta stop because I'm just gonna be on a Shanks binge right now, but I want to talk about it more, but not right now. This is getting us nowhere. You helped me out in that Rocky Port incident. Thanks to you, I was able to topple Wang Shi, making me the boss of Pirate Island. We find out that Wang Shi was a former member of the Rocks Pirates who used to be the boss of Pirate Island. But due to the events of the Rocky Port incident that involved Kobe, Blackbeard was able to usurp control from a former member of Rocks and become the new boss. If I let this woman go, do you think she'll play nice and turn my men back? I need her to put my men back to normal, too. And then Hancock goes, if you both leave without trouble, I will do that. And then, gripping her neck even tighter, causing her to kind of, wince in pain, he goes, no, you're lying. I let go and you'll turn us to stone necks. And that's the end of it, ain't it? It's impossible for any man not to fall under your spell. Well, I guess I have to kill her. And then Kobe goes, no, don't. The human cost is too great. Note how Kobe still thinks of the casualty count, even in a situation like this. And then a spark of conquerors is felt through the air as Rayleigh shows up. As he goes, I expected a naval siege. I'm sorry for getting here late, Hancock. And everyone's all like, Dark King Rayleigh! And this causes Blackbeard to sweat bullets. Like, this is the most nervous he's ever looked ever since coming across the Seraphim Pacifista and seeing it that one time. But this is him sweating. This is him sweating because he's surprised to see Rayleigh there. And even Kobe's surprised to see Rayleigh, and then everyone else who hasn't been turned to stone is surprised to see Rayleigh. And then Rayleigh goes, undo the petrification, Hancock. I'll mediate this situation. Nobody here is to overstep their bounds. Just behave yourselves and quietly leave the island. Here's the thing. This man drew his sword, and everyone immediately went like, sir, yes, sir! Like the moment Rayleigh came in. The moment Rayleigh came in and said, like, you kids are too noisy. Y'all need to shut up. And everybody was all like, yep, we are not going to do anything. We are not going to do anything at all. Couldn't stop screaming when you saw Rayleigh. Look, I think I was screaming too. I can't remember. It was like, what, 2-3 Sundays ago? The fact that Rayleigh showed up, man shows up, draws sword, mediates entire situation, refuses to elaborate, leaves. That's Rayleigh in a nutshell. His mere presence is enough to deter people, even someone like Blackbeard. Remember, this man took the power of Whitebeard, is regarded as a Yonko, incredibly strong. And this dude left as soon as Rayleigh showed up. This is a person who spent 2 years refining his power, because back then he wasn't ready to take on Shanks, not ready to fight you yet. 2 years later, this man still doesn't want to mess with Rayleigh. No one wants to mess with Rayleigh. This is the right hand of the king. You don't mess with him. You can carry the Yonko status, but you ain't got that Rayleigh status. I'm sorry, I'm getting hype. I'm getting hype just talking about Rayleigh. Rayleigh is amazing. Can we just say that? This dude is pure Chad energy. After him, first, it's Roger, then Rayleigh, then Odin. No, Roger, Rayleigh, Whitebeard, Odin. Pure Chad energy. But Rayleigh is on a different level because no one dares face him. They may try and fight him, but they got no real hopes of stopping him. Now, mind you, later, Rayleigh says, quite frankly, it was only the particulars of the situation that made it possible to save her. At my age, I couldn't have possibly won. I'm doing all this hyping of Rayleigh. But even Rayleigh himself admits that he couldn't have won in a head-to-head fight against Blackbeard, which means that Rayleigh's presence is enough of a deterrent to keep away someone like Blackbeard. But Rayleigh admits that he's not strong enough to take on Blackbeard head-to-head. So it's a good thing people are just scared of Rayleigh, because he's not as young as he used to be. Also, in this chapter, we find out that Shaki was the former Empress of the Kuja, and former captain of the Kuja 2 generations ago. Because the events of the Empresses of Amazon Lily is Shaki left, found love on her own. The Empress after her came under that same love sickness and then succumbed to it. And then the next Empress after her was Hancock. The fact that Shaki was the Empress of Amazon Lily ages ago, it explains so much. Do you think Rayleigh can possibly have Wi-Fi hockey as well? I wouldn't be surprised. Rayleigh is a master hockey user. So skillful that he was able to teach Luffy the finite specifics of hockey, enough for Luffy to be as strong as he is right now. Now, of course, with the different situations that Luffy's been put in, he's learned newer applications of hockey, of which I'm pretty sure Rayleigh would be proud. But Rayleigh, I wouldn't be surprised if he wouldn't be surprised to see Luffy have Conqueror's imbuement and know it, because he's all like, well, I've seen this before because Roger had it. So it wouldn't surprise me if he's able to project his hockey out the same way that Shanks does. Mind you, Rayleigh has been around a lot longer than Shanks. The dude is crazy strong, though not as strong as he used to be in his youth, but he's crazy strong. His knowledge of hockey is, as it stands right now, quite extensive. In line of pretty much everyone else in One Piece, his knowledge of One Piece is pretty much the most extensive we've seen. And he's like, there are plenty of people that know of hockey and even know of Conquerors, but when it comes to full knowledge of hockey in general, I think Rayleigh is the person to go to. Now, mind you, Shanks probably has a lot of knowledge of hockey as well, but due to Rayleigh's age and his experience being with the Roger Pirates, I'm pretty sure his knowledge of haki is possibly more extensive than Shanks, but Shanks is possibly the one that's the most refined. I don't know. We'll just have to see in the future. But we find out that Shaki used to be the Empress of Amazon Lily 2 generations ago. Rayleigh outwardly admits that he's not strong enough to take on Blackbeard in a head-to-head fight. And then they all come to the realization, because this is in the present day now, they all come to the realization that the Navy thinks those new weapons are a replacement for you warlords, huh? Even by the end, there wasn't a single scratch on those two. During the whole event that happened during the assault on Amazon Lily, neither one of those pacifistas suffered any damage to their person the entire time. And the one pacifista that was blasting everything around was basically a clone of Hancock with star-shaped eyes. So basically, the Seraphim Pacifista are pacifistas of the former warlords who are also bolstered by DNA of the Lunarians, which gives them an insurmountable amount of defense. Remember, King was an example of how tough Lunarians are during his entire fight with Zoro. Now we have Seraphim Pacifistas that share his toughness. And who knows how much more reinforced they are due to Vegapunk. And then we have someone saying, that's right, we'll proceed to Egghead and dock the ship. We find out what Egghead is 2 chapters later. As for the abducted Captain Kobe, the hero of the Rocky Port incident, Captain Kobe has been kidnapped by the Blackbeard pirates, status unknown. So in exchange for pretty much everyone being dispelled from the petrification of Hancock, Blackbeard took Kobe. And that's the end of the chapter. Now, before we get started on chapter 160, I got nothing but time today, ladies and gentlemen. I got nothing but time. Let's go ahead and look over the short synopsis and notes. So I think I've already gone through these notes when I read through this chapter originally. But Blackbeard reveals more details about the Rocky Port incident. Kobe's involvement in the incident somehow allowed Blackbeard to topple Ochoku, a former member of the Rock's pirates, and conquer Hachinosu. Rayleigh showed up on Amazon Lily to end the conflict and told Hancock to undo all petrifications, and afterwards he and Shaki stayed on the island. Shaki is revealed to be a former empress of the Kuja tribe and the former captain of the Kuja pirates from 2 generations ago. With the Marines targeting her only, Hancock declares her intention of leaving Amazon Lily to protect her people and reunite with Luffy. A newspaper reports about Kobe being captured by the Blackbeard pirates. So Blackbeard's bounty is almost at 4 billion, and Hancock's bounty is at 1 billion right now. Hancock reveals that even if she dies, it won't undo the stone petrification, and the next person who gains her power will not be able to undo it. Hancock overwhelmed the invading forces, using her power to turn the vast majority of them to stone. It's revealed that Hancock is the certain someone who Blackbeard wanted to capture before the Marines, as stated in a previous chapter, chapter 956. Vasco Shot makes his post-time skip debut. The aftermath of the siege on Amazon Lily is shown. During the attack, the Marine forces used 2 young Lunarian-like pacifistas called Seraphim. They both resemble Boa Hancock and Draco Mihawk in their youth. Due to the Mihawk-looking Seraphim's attack, the mountain in the Kuja capital has been cleaved nearly in half. So a lot of things were revealed in this chapter. We find out what the SSG actually made. Now, the SSG is not the Seraphim Pacifistas, but the SSG is the super scientist group that helped pretty much brought these pacifistas, these new Seraphim Pacifistas, into being. So that's what the SSG means, and we pretty much see the fruits of Vegapunk and the SSG's labor, as now I don't think they're going to be using the Bartholomew Kuma's pacifistas anymore, or at least they'll probably stopped productions of the pacifistas, those original pacifistas, and now they're probably going to be using the Seraphim pacifistas since they're so much more powerful. It's interesting, you know? It's fairly interesting. Hold on, I gotta move this page over. Okay, there we go. Onwards to the next chapter. So, all right, I forgot I was re-looking through these pages, and some of them got mixed up and jumbled. So, in chapter 1060, Luffy's Dream, and let me pull this up on the next one so we can look at the notes here. Luffy and crew find out about all the stuff that's happened in the world, the reverie, the revolutionary army's attack on Marijois, the abolishment of the warlords, and the stuff that happened with Sabo, and Luffy screaming out, he wouldn't kill Vivi's dad. No way, it's not true. Sabo would never do that. And then Robin is saying, like, I agree with you. Of course, the enemies of the revolutionary army are the world nobles, not the kings themselves. So we get the narration that goes, the revolutionaries declared war on the celestial dragons. Their chief of staff, Sabo, assassinated King Cobra of Alabasta, while the princess of that nation, Vivi, went missing. Sorry, it won't scroll properly. And then Luffy says, let's go to Alabasta. And Zoro says, I'm telling you, King Cobra's already dead. What are you going to do there? Vivi went missing in Marijois. Then let's go to Marijois. And I'm like, dude, do you not know what Marijois is? It is the most secured place in the world other than Impel Down. So Luffy's all ready to throw hands in order to make sure that Vivi's okay. Completely oblivious to the amount of preparation you would need to assault the land of the gods. But that's Luffy. He's ready to throw hands regardless of the consequences. And then Caribou, who's inside the barrel, is going to Marijois? Dang, I can't really hear them. And then Luffy's arguing with Zoro, and then everyone's crying over all this news, including Chopper and Sanji. He's crying because of what happened to Vivi. And then Usopp is trying to, console Chopper, saying, you'll never meet a better king. And then Nami's pacing back and forth. And Jinbei's like, sounds like this reverie was quite a turbulent one. And then Frankie says, we met your brother in Dressrosa, didn't we, Luffy? Thinking back to Sabo when he first appeared after all this time. And Brooks says, I don't think I've ever heard of Alabasta suffering under misrule, which means that during the time when Brook was alive, Alabasta was in good hands. You never hear, he probably never heard of anything bad happening during the rule of Alabasta. During the time that when he was alive. Because remember, Brook has been around for a very long time. The dude is 80? 80? I want to say he's 80 or 90. I want to say he's about... I want to say he's 90. How old is he? Yeah, Brook is 90 years old, which makes him older than Cobra was, which means that he's probably been around long enough to see, the Alabasta Kingdom go through things. But for him to say, I've never heard of Alabasta suffering under misrule, which means that he pretty much never heard anything bad happening to Alabasta during his time. 90 to 88 for the keys on a piano +2. Wow, attention to detail. Another node to Brook's musical nature. His age is about the same as keys on a piano. But everyone's crying, saying like, come on, let's go there together. And then Zoro saying, remember, Luffy, what did you say when this happened to Ace? And he's all like, don't you dare use my words against me. Because he looks at Zoro like, how dare you use my words that I spoke out of my mouth against me? He's just glaring at Zoro like, don't do that. Ace has his own adventures. And then Zoro, see, even though Zoro can have his moments, he's still one of the more grounded members of the crew. Especially when it comes to Luffy, because here's the thing. With Luffy as an individual, you need someone to rein him in. And Zoro is that person. It's not Robin, it's not Nami, it's not anyone else, it's Zoro. It is really Zoro who's coming back to his captain saying like, hey, focus, we can't do this right now. Don't be an idiot. And he's not scared to tell Luffy how stupid he is. They all did except Brook. Who's all dead? Who's all dead? They all dead except Brook? Who's dead? Ain't nobody dead. Ain't nobody dead. Well, except King Cobra, he's dead. But if you're talking about the Straw Hat crew, what? But Zoro is that one to rein in Luffy and make him not, act in a stupid and uncouth way. Brook is reading a storybook that Robin wrote. Interesting theory. No evidence points to it, though. And then Zoro says, until he was in undeniable danger, you let Ace live his own life. You don't think Vivi can figure this out herself? She's a strong woman. When it comes time to act, we'll fight whoever we have to. But when there's nothing to be done, just put up with it. And then, everyone's licking their tongues out at Zoro, including Sanji, Chopper, Nami, along with Luffy. And then Robin is reading the paper going, so many things happened while we were on Wano, and they're all rapidly developing. The dissolution of the Seven Warlord system resulted in high-level pirates being unleashed upon the sea, and that led to the formation of the Cross Guild, and with it, the new Emperor of the Sea, Buggy the Genius Jester. And then Luffy is all like, now that's just a mistake. And then it cuts to Robin saying, now, Luffy, there are more names with some connection to you in here. Do you want to know? And then Luffy's all like, I'll leave that to you. Just tell me if it's real bad. All right, I'll do that. I'm sure you've had enough news for now. And she just flips the page, which means that there are probably names in there that he hasn't, that we've seen, but he doesn't know about, that Robin basically just left him out on because Luffy doesn't want to know. And he's not interested. And he just lays back. And he goes, Sabo didn't do it. And everyone is agreeing with him. And he goes, Sabo grew up in a town, in a home that controlled him. He just wants everyone to be free. And then we look at the memories of Sabo and Luffy. As Luffy goes, I swore an oath to him and Ace, just the three of us. I wanna, and then time passes. And then everyone gets surprised at Luffy's answer. Everyone gets surprised at Luffy's answer, and they're thinking, like, you can't be serious about that. And then but Chopper is amazed by this dream that Luffy has. Because the thing we find out in this chapter is that Luffy becoming king of the pirates is not his dream. It's just a means to an end on the path to his dream. Luffy has never said that it's his dream to become king of the pirates. He's just always said, you're looking at the man who's going to become king of the pirates. We've never heard him say that that was his dream, though. But he explained his dream to his crew, which we don't know yet. And he just said, and even Usopp says, come on, that's not possible. Maybe it is once I'm the king of the pirates. I mean, who thinks of something like that? Huh? Did I never tell any of you this? Nope, never. Not that I mind, but it can't happen. I guess it was only Shanks and Ace and Sabo then. What did they say? They laughed. Shanks had tears in his eyes. And that's all at the end of my dream. So this is a really good, well-drawn panel of Luffy here. He's just enjoying himself. Just thinking about his dream. Calling this chapter Luffy's dream was the biggest clickbait in the history of clickbaits. Yeah. When you think about it, Luffy explains his dream, but not to us. He explains his dream to his crew, but no one. But we don't even know what his dream is. And then Jinbei just starts laughing crazily. He says, well, now that I'm here on this ship, I guess I've got to take it seriously. This is quite a captain I'm saddled with. And then Chopper starts getting tears in his eyes, and his eyes sparkle as he goes, that's great, Luffy, what a great dream. And then Nami just goes, it does sound like you. But it definitely ain't possible without at least being king of the pirates. It should have been called the kingdom that never existed. That actually might be a good alternate title, because in this chapter, we find out just how powerful the world government is when it comes to offensive power. Because after they're done, Robin says, it's the last, don't make it sound so simple, Frankie. And then it cuts to Frankie going, and then we can get the laugh tail, just one more rope poneglyph to find. And Robin says it's the last poneglyph that no one's been able to find for a very long time, which means the only people who were able to find this rope poneglyph was Roger and the crew, and his crew. That's how long it's been. No one knows where this road poneglyph is. And that road poneglyph is the last thing they need in order to find Laughtail. Well, in order to get to Lodestar Island, which will lead to Laughtail. But no one's been able to find this road poneglyph. I wonder where this next poneglyph is. It's so obvious Shanks will die. They like fans to cry. I think the last saddest death is Ace. It's so obvious. No, it isn't. It isn't obvious at all. I know you're throwing all this out there, one life man, but none of what you have said has any concrete basis. It sounds nice to say, and then it sounds nice to make a theory of it, but none of it makes any sense at this point in time. But Robin says it's the last road poneglyph that no one's been able to find for a very long time. There are absolutely no clues to his whereabouts. And then we cut to Navy HQ in the New World, message from Flame Emperor Sabo to the Kamabaka Kingdom, and everyone's all like, where is he? Where is he? Trace his signal! There's no white transponder snail jamming. It's an emergency call then. He'll hang up soon. And then it cuts to the Gorosei, who are listening in on this whole conversation as they're going like, Trace successful! And, yo, Ravi, what's going on? We're currently on chapter 1060 of One Piece. We're going through all the major details of this chapter. Blackbeard is going to kill Shanks. Point me to the evidence that points you in that direction. Or do you think that because you assume that's what Oda's going to do, or you think that's what makes more sense to you? Because let me remind everyone, just because you think something could go in that direction, none of us are Oda. I would like to once again point out that unless you got evidence to make these statements, they pretty much don't hold any weight. Sorry, I know it sounds nice to you, but it doesn't. But the Gorosei are listening in as they go, Trace successful, where is he? The kingdom of Lulujah! And then one of the Gorosei goes, Lulujah, and then another one goes, my word. And then it cuts to Im-sama in his garden. In tiptoe through the window by the garden. And he's just in there chilling, as some Navy dudes say that's one of the 8 countries. Well, it's one of the Gorosei as he goes, that's one of the 8 countries that revolted the other day. Psycho, what's going on? Buggy will infuse Conqueror's hockey with a buggy ball. See, that's funny. That's funny. One life, man, do stuff like that, because that's funny. The other stuff you're saying makes no sense. That's one of the 8 countries that revolted the other day. The perfect place for Sabo to be hiding. Now, originally, I thought that they fired Shanks-inspired Luffy, so I don't think Oda would take that route. Yeah, it doesn't make sense. I see so many outlandish theories just get posted about One Piece that make no sense, no evidence point to it, but they sound nice to say. But it just makes it just comes off as ridiculous. Apologies for being blunt, but it's just plain ridiculous. Blackbeard is going to kill Shanks. Who said? Did Oda say that? Did he not? Did he say it? No. Why say it? I'm just saying. It's just, please. Oda likes to kill one of the best characters. It's not that he likes to kill them. There needs to be a purpose. There needs to be a purpose. Just because he's killed off fan favorite characters doesn't mean that that's just his. Because now you're making it sound like Oda is predictable, so now you're just going off of this so-called predictability and assuming that that's what he's going to go into. Remember, this is Oda. He throws us for a loop every single time. He's not predictable. So that's the reason why I can't get behind any theories, because that assumes that we know how Oda thinks. None of us do. So, but the girl says, so it goes, I see. Like the last time everyone was shocked when Ace died. Yeah, everyone was shocked. That's it. Doesn't mean that that's created a pattern for us to follow for Oda, though. But the girl say, one of the bald girl say goes, I see. An unlucky man. No, it is simply destiny. Then we cut to the Kamabaka Kingdom as Sabo is talking to the revolutionaries. Sorry for the trouble. Dragon, I wasn't the one who assassinated King Cobra, but when I was in Marijois, I saw something terrible. And then it cuts to the Lulujah Kingdom as something dark is hanging in the air above the entire kingdom. Now, mind you, the kingdom is quite large. It's a big kingdom, but whatever this thing is literally more than half the size of the entire island that the Lulujah Kingdom is on. Whatever this thing is, it is massive. It's massive. And then it cuts to people going, the sky's so dark. Are those clouds? It's almost like some massive object is hovering just overhead. And then it cuts to the King Seki and Princess Komane or Komane. I think it might be Komane. I might have said her name wrong previously. Kingdom of Lulujah, King Seki and Prince Komane, as he goes, you'll all regret this. Mark my words. Once Naval HQ arrives, you'll all be sentenced to impalement. It's the Straw Hat. But it wasn't that big, though. It was a big straw hat, but not island size. Not unless it's a shape-shifting straw hat. But it cuts to the people on the other side of the bars going, confess your crimes, your majesty. Seki, we don't want to have to take your lives. Every island we get a new baddie. Who will be for this one, known or new one? We have no idea, Ravi. We're in uncharted territory. We had a game plan for One Piece going from Punk Hazard onwards. We had an end goal person to go after. This is new uncharted territory. Because the latest chapter we got of One Piece put us in a place I didn't think we were going to go to. But we'll touch on that. We'll touch on that in a minute. But then it shows Im-sama looking on as Sabo says, the empty throne in Pangaea Castle, the throne that's supposed to remain forever empty because there's no king of the world, actually has, and it pretty much just lets us know that Sabo found out that Im-sama exists. Here's the thing, Im-sama's existence is a secret that no one knows except for the guards who never speak. And the Gorosei. They're the only ones who know of Im-sama's existence. But now Sabo knows that Im-sama exists. And if that knowledge gets out into the world, think about this. For 800 years, someone has ruled the world, but has put up this fake facade of the empty throne, making it so that no king would try to take control of the world for themselves. They pledge their loyalties to this empty throne. No one ever sits in that chair, except Im-sama, but no one ever knows of his existence. So mind you, think about all these kingdoms that have pledged allegiance and have bowed and sworn fealty to this empty throne, this ideology that no one can rule over others at the seat of the world. It to the eyes of these different kingdoms, it's basically just it's a physical manifestation of their oath as kings to the world itself. Now think, after countless years of these kingdoms swearing fealty to this empty throne, word gets out that someone actually sits on that throne. Word gets out that someone actually rules the entire world and pretty much everyone in it. And you've been lied to for God knows how long, maybe even centuries, because we don't even know who or what Im-sama is. But just imagine that you've ran your kingdom for countless years, and then you get told that someone sits on the throne that you swear fealty to, that no one can ever sit on that throne. Imagine the revolutions would be bigger than the ones that are happening right now to the 8 nations that revolted. It would just cause the entire world to flip on its head. Sabo has this knowledge, but unfortunately, he's in the vicinity of where the Lulujah Kingdom is about to be destroyed. Because I originally, do you think that object was Uranus or Im's power? See, I'm sticking to the idea that this is an ancient weapon. I'm sticking to the idea that this is Uranus. Because we already know of Poseidon, that's Shirahoshi. We know of Pluton, that's literally underneath Wano. That's, held in by the barriers of Wano. I'm sticking by the idea that this is the ancient weapon Uranus. Because as he said, as that happens, they cut off communications to Lulujah. They cut off communications to Lulujah, and they make it so that they cut off. Here's the thing: they cut off communications from Lulujah, which means they have the ability to sever and just block out transmissions from that entire island completely. That's something that really didn't dawn on me. But they have the capabilities of shutting off communication from an entire island anytime they want. Or at least whenever this big floating thing gets close to an island, it puts out it maybe puts out a field. What's Lulujah? The Lulujah Kingdom is one of the kingdoms that showed up for the Reverie. It's actually one of the kingdoms that led a revolt against the world government. It's one of 8 nations that has pretty much revolted against the world government. One of 8. And Lulujah gets hit first. Or at least I think it gets hit first. I'm pretty sure you wouldn't hear about any other nation getting hit otherwise, because they've pretty much, like I said, shown they've cut off communication out of the island. That's how Sabo lost his phone call with the Kamabaka Kingdom. What's Lulujah? Never heard of it? Exactly. Communications. Listen to me. You did not detect anything today. It took me a minute for me to realize what you were doing, Karma. I had a slow moment. I had a very slow moment. Communications. Listen to me. You did not detect anything today. You did not intercept anything. The kingdom of Lulujah, that country, never existed in the first place. And as these words are said, a blinding light engulfs all of the island. And Sabo is nearby. Now, a lot of people have said that Sabo isn't even on the Lulujah Kingdom because he's looking over in a direction where the light isn't exactly all over him in a way to show that he's in the kingdom itself. So a lot of people are saying that Sabo is safe, but he's in the vicinity of where this massive nuke just went off and destroyed the Lulujah Kingdom, because this blinding light just hovers over the entire island, and it completely destroys the entire kingdom. From the clouds, from this object that's hanging over the kingdom, the entire nation is obliterated and wiped off the map. Because in the next panel, it's gone. You don't see anything. Seaquake detected in the open sea to the southeast. Tsunami warning issued. So whatever this weapon is, it's strong enough to cause seaquakes. It's strong enough to shake the sea. Not only destroy entire nations, but also shake the ocean around it. So whatever this weapon is, it is unbelievably powerful. Now, the reason why I think this is an ancient weapon is purely based off of the description of ancient weapons. Because they've been, if I pull this page up here, well, first I gotta wait for it to respawn so I can type it in. Ancient weapons. If we pull up the description of ancient weapons, the description of these is, if I go down here, each of the, well, let me see here, Pluton, weapons of mass destruction, each taking a different form. They are known as Pluton, Poseidon, and Uranus, each named after a deity for their godly power. These weapons are not limited only to inanimate objects, but consist of living beings as well. The ancient weapons are the argument used by the world government to forbid research of the Void Century, since they fear that knowledge of the weapons could result in a global war. However, this has not stopped members of the world government, most notably Spandam and former warlord Crocodile, from attempting to gain one of the weapons for themselves. Even without knowledge of the missing years, their power has been known to entice casual observers, as was the case with Vanderdecken's interest in Shirahoshi, otherwise known as the ancient weapon Poseidon. No worries, we'll see Sabo in another 100 to 150 chapters. Yeah, Oda loves to keep us waiting when it comes to showing people over a long period of time. Joy Boy is the creator of Devil Fruits. Everything has an origin. One Life, man, where are you getting all this stuff from? Does it sound nice to type up? I hope you realize that no one is like, what in the world? I gotta keep going. But one thing about the ancient weapons is that they're known for their insurmountable amount of power. Every single time they're mentioned, they're just like they're literally weapons of mass destruction, which brings me back to my thoughts of Uranus being one of these ancient weapons, but they never use it. They never use it unless there's a light to be extinguished. As Ogata-san said, Im-sama says it's cleansing time. So that's my takes on it. It's an ancient weapon that the world government has, but they only use it to completely wipe off an entire nation off the map. To either keep any secrets they need gone, or to eradicate people who no longer follow them. There's a guy on YouTube that does shorts, and he said what One Life is saying. He's telling us unknown Reddit theories that only got 4 upvotes. Oh, so basically stuff that no one actually believes or even thinks is possible. Gotcha. Figured as much. But the entire nation gets completely obliterated, and then it cuts to days later. We don't know how many days, but it cuts to days later, and the Straw Hats are going through like this snowy, icy waters, and there's plenty of Sea Kings being frozen, and then everyone is holding on for dear life. There's an eddy, an enormous warm eddy in the water, and inside we find out that Jewelry Bonnie is inside of this eddy, and she pretty much is thrown up in the air. Worst generation, the glutton Jewelry Bonnie with a bounty of 320 million. Now, mind you, I don't think her bounty was this high before. Actually, I don't think we found out about her bounty until just now. Well, actually, no. Her bounty actually has increased because I got it right here. Her bounty originally was 140 million. Sorry, I was looking at chat. Was 140 million. Now it's raised up to 320 million. I'll admit, before the end of Wano, I would have believed Joy Boy is the creator of Devil Fruits, then Buggy becoming a Yonko. Literally anything is possible. But at the same time, the more believable things of anything that's possible is the one where evidence actually points towards it, not just off-the-wall stuff on Reddit. There's a reason why I don't come up with massive theories unless I have, like, unless I can back it up with evidence that we know of in the story. Otherwise, these reflections wouldn't be as long. But Jewelry Bonnie's in here, and let's go over and that's the end of the chapter. And so, let's go over the chapter notes. The Straw Hat Pirates learn about the Reverie incidents regarding Sabo, Vivian, Cobra, as well as the abolishment of the Warlord system. Caribou is on the Thousand Sunny, hiding inside a locked-up barrel. Luffy tells his crew mates that becoming Pirate King is just a means to an end. The ultimate goal of his dream is something else. His true dream was not revealed, but it was stated to be something impossible. Though Luffy believes that becoming Pirate King might make it achievable. The only other people Luffy talked about his true dream to were Shanks, Ace, and Sabo. Okay, now we're getting the hurricane winds. It was raining a little bit at first, but now we're getting massive winds, and we're getting a lot of rain right now. This is going to help the grass grow because we got it irrigated. Sabo is revealed to have been in the Lulujah Kingdom. King Seki and Princess Komain were imprisoned by their constituents as consequence of the 8-Nation Revolution. Sabo reports to the Revolutionary Army about having seen someone sitting on the empty throne. He also confirms he had no involvement in Cobra's murder. So, vindication, he's fine. As M crosses out Lulujah from a map, a strange flying entity shows up in Lulujah's skies. It then rains down a massive light blast onto the country, wiping it out nearly instantly. That's scary. Can we just talk about this? Can we just talk about this for a moment? Whatever this thing is, the world government basically has the ability to wipe entire nations off of the map whenever they want it. Bonnie has the same bounty as Hawkins and higher than Drake Killer and Uruj. Well, I wouldn't be surprised given her affiliation. Well, given how much Akainu wanted to, capture her after she was captured by Blackbeard and saying, like, when I found out that you escaped, my blood ran cold. I don't think that's a passing phrase. Akainu knows more about Jewelry Bonnie than we do. So it's kind of odd. And also another thing is that the dialect of Jewelry Bonnie in Japanese is basically the same as Akainu's. So a lot of people are drawing similarities to their speech patterns, maybe thinking that there's something between both Akainu and Jewelry Bonnie, but we'll get to that in a minute. Can we just talk about how the world government has nuclear-ready weaponry that is capable of leveling and destroying entire nations? Did Hawkins die, or am I remembering something wrong? It says that his status is unknown. It doesn't exactly say that he's dead, but it says that his status is basically unknown. The same type of status for Kaido and Big Mom. Even though they were caught up in an explosion, they are not listed as dead yet. So their status is basically unknown. Hold on. We don't have updated bounties for Killer and Uruj, though. Maybe for Drake, too, but I forgot. Maybe Drake hitched a ride on Apu's ship. We don't know the status of Hawkins, Apu, or Drake. Those are the only members of the worst generation that we don't know of. Hawkins' role is over. If he's not dead, then Oda's got some weird problems with writing off characters. We don't know. We don't know. We have no idea what direction Oda's about to go in with some of these characters, especially with their status being unknown. But I thought, I'll keep that thought to myself. While Lulujah's destruction is ongoing, the Five Elders order the Marines to cease intercepting the call and pretend that Lulujah has never existed to begin with. The Straw Hat Pirates are nearing a winter island. Chopper and Luffy are swept away by the strong wind. This crew spots someone inside a water spout, and Zoro frees that person, who turns out to be Jewelry Bonnie, and then Bonnie's bounty is revealed to be 320 million. Now, the thing I kind of wanted to talk about is like the fact that the world government has nuclear island clearing, island destroying weaponry at their disposal. Who knows how many islands, how many nations have been completely erased by the world government and no one knows? Like, how many nations, how many homes, how many kingdoms have been erased from history that no one knows about, that the world government just basically completely eradicated? It could be an unknown amount of nations that are just gone now. We have no idea. But the fact that they have this, the ability to take something, some big floating weapon, and just completely destroy an island completely, it just leaves so many questions about what more do they have up their sleeve. But also the fact that M-sama is now a lot, I feel like M-sama is a lot more active than he's ever been before because of all the things that are going on right now. So I'd imagine we're probably going to see this weapon more often in the far-off future. Because it wasn't until Luffy and his crew started doing stuff around the world and the revolutionaries started doing things that caused this sort of matter to happen. But I'm just assuming here, but this might be the most active we see Im-sama than possibly we've seen in a long time. Do you think water fruit exists? That's a very powerful devil fruit? No, because it goes against everything that a devil fruit kind of is. It pretty much opens up a can of worms for... Because think about this. The weakness of a devil fruit is being in water. Why would you... It kind of makes no sense for you to have a devil fruit that's basically pure water if that's your weakness. So no, I don't think it exists. I don't think it exists at all. I'm pretty sure people have put it up in fan fiction because it sounds cool and looks cool, but it pretty much goes against everything that makes a devil fruit. And it's like, why become the very weakness that devil fruits operate in? That's the reason why we don't have a water fruit right now, because it's just too much trying to piece together how that functions in the world of One Piece right now. So no, I don't think it exists. And anyone who thinks it does, you're silly. The water fruit is plausible to be fair, but I don't know how to feel about the theory of Im having it. There's a sun god, moon god, earth god. The only one is missing is a sea god. Okay. We're moving on. We're moving on to the next chapter. Chapter 1061. This is the big chapter where I got a lot of questions. So in chapter 1061, oh wait, this is making me skip to the end. Future Island Egghead. Luffy grabs on the jewelry Bonnie. Then we find out there's a giant shark underneath the Sunny. And because of Frankie and his enhancements to the Sunny, it would be cool if someone has it in a different universe and you have to be awakened to control the fruit. Yeah, in a fan fiction alternate universe, but not in the current one. But due to Frankie's advancements for the Sunny, they now they got a propeller underneath the Sunny that allows them to jet off real fast. And it turns out that this big giant mechanical shark can fire off missiles, which causes some members of the crew to be knocked overboard. And Jinbei, being the fishman that he is, he picks up both Chopper, Jewelry Bonnie, and Luffy, and they go off, and they go swimming off as the shark attempts to shoot at them again, and they just keep going in a different direction as a giant mech appears in the water and proceeds to punch that shark. And as the rest of the members of the crew are starting to sink through the water, they black out, and then they wake up, and then we're at a nearby island on G14 where we see Tashigi and Mocha and the Giant Kids. That shark panel is so frightening. The one where it's coming up out of the ocean, just think about that animated. Animated, and you just see the shadow of the shark coming up underneath the Sunny, just slowly. That's something straight out of Jaws, or that Megalodon movie that Jason Statham was in. I never saw that movie, but it just... the feeling of the unknown. This is the reason why I could never go open sea swimming, because one, can't swim, and two, I don't like being in a space where I don't know where something is underneath me, or above me, or around me. That's the reason why I don't go camping. I'm not gonna go swimming out in the open ocean, because it's basically almost near bottomless, and it gets darker the lower it goes down, so you can't see the bottom. If I can't see the bottom of it, I'm not going in it. So that's just me. You don't want Tashigi or Smoker or Helmeppo in this arc. They are so boring and uninteresting. I got no problem with them, but I don't think that they're going to be the main people we see in this arc. We might see them on and off again, but I don't think they're going to be the main people that we see in this arc. But Tashigi's here with the Giant Kids, and it turns out that with the medicine they're taking, they're slowly but surely shrinking down to their original size, which means that either Vegapunk figured out how to reverse the forced gigantification that Caesar put on these kids, or someone else did. Then we get introduced to more people, more brand new people. Lots of waifus in this chapter. Red Dead Redemption made me afraid of camping. Look, Ogata-san, Red Dead 2 made it even more terrifying to go camping because of it makes going out in the woods at night scary. Not only do you have to worry about animals attacking you out in the dark, but you also got these weird voodoo people that are very, very happy to stab you in the chest. So Red Dead 2 is scary. I probably won't go camping either because it's the stuff that's outside of my tent. Like, if I'm inside my tent and I hear noises, I ain't going. I'm black. We don't do that. Explore what's outside of our tent. We don't do like, oh, I hear a noise. Let me poke my head outside and see what it is. No, we're the people who we don't go outside to figure out what's out there. I'm the type that'll be like, okay, you hear that noise? Be very quiet. Don't make any sudden new movements, and maybe it'll go away. I'm not gonna be the type that puts my head outside of a tent, and then there's a bear right there, and then the bear knows I'm in the tent, and then it tries to get in the tent, and then there's only one way inside the tent. Not doing it. I'm not putting myself in that situation. Y'all can call me a coward if y'all want to, but I ain't doing that. I ain't going on out in the woods. If I know there's bears out there, I ain't going out in the woods. I ain't going out in no woods. You crazy. But, oh no, Q, you're the opposite. You love the wilderness and ocean because of the excitement of the unknown. Then we're complete opposites, Sabir. I am a brother with a strong belief in self-preservation. Exploring the unknown is for the professionals. I'm good and comfy in my bed. Karma, my man. I'm not gonna see. If I can't see the bottom, that just makes my imagination go wild. Like I'm in the ocean and I'm floating there. There's all sorts of things in the ocean that'll get close to me. Sharks, whales, all sorts of things. Things that are fundamentally bigger than me that can easily drag me under, that I cannot resist. I don't want to be anywhere near them. I will watch YouTube videos about the ocean. I will even go to the zoo and see animals in the water. But I will not go in the water and I can't see the bottom. I'll go in the pool because I can see the bottom of the pool. But I ain't going in no pit. I ain't going in no deep lake. I ain't going in no ocean because I want to make sure that if my feet are touching ground, they are still touching ground when I get inside the water. That's one reason why I may learn to swim in the future, but I will not put it to ocean use. I will not put it to ocean use. We only live once. It's nice to experience stuff like that. Yeah, you only live once. But I don't think I'm missing out on nothing if I don't go in the ocean. That's just me. We all have our limits. You only live once, but I intend to live long by not drowning. So, we're here at Naval Branch G14. G14. I was thinking about G4 and just how that entire channel just went down. Frosk. You had one job, make people like you, and you failed. And now G4 is just going under again. But that's another story. The giant kids are here. We get introduced to more waifus, such as Navy HQ G4 Base Commander Vice Admiral Dahl, who's dressed up in like either a short sleeve shirt with a spiked choker around her neck, and she's talking to Tashigi. As we see Helmeppo crying his eyes out. Oh wait, no! I was wrong. It was not Jewelry Bonnie who had who may be similar to a Kainu. I was completely wrong. It was Hibari. This new character that we get introduced to. Strike that, what I said about Jewelry Bonnie and a Kainu having a connection, just strike that from the records, because I got those two characters mixed up. That's my bad. But we see Navy HQ Lieutenant Commander of Sword, Helmeppo, and he's crying his eyes out because he's close to Kobe. And then we have Navy HQ Commander of Sword, Hibari, who talks in like a broken speech a little bit. I'm begging you, sir. Captain Kobe's done so much for me. So she's got like a country drawl, or at least some sort of country accent to her, which a lot of people point to that Akainu has that same type of dialect a little bit. So they brought some similarities between Hibari and Akainu. Not Akainu and Jewelry Bonnie, but Hibari and Akainu. because their dialect is pretty much the same, or at least they come from the same prefecture. So then we see Prince Gruss, who is in charge, the rear admiral of Sword. And we've seen him before because he was in Gang Beijo My Family when they tried to arrest Chiffon way back when. And it cuts to Helmeppo saying, you gotta go with us to Pirate Island. We need this, Your Highness. Please, Your Highness. Yeah, but you're talking about Pirate Island, Blackbeard's hideout, a place crawling with so many pirates every surface is pockmarked from the constant shootouts. That's why they call it full of lead. Did you know that we're going to find out the lore behind devil fruits in this arc? Because Oda said it'd be revealed once a certain professor shows up. See, that's what I was thinking as well. And I think I brought that up during my reaction to this chapter because I think I actually brought that up, Karma. This is the chapter where we're going to find out the science of One Piece. This is the arc where we're going to find out the true science of One Piece. We're about to see an island run by the world's smartest man, an island that's said to be 500 years into the future. We're about to see technological advancements for One Piece 5 centuries in the making. We're about to see. That's the coolest thing. See, because I'm a bit of a science nerd. I like to learn stuff, lots of stuff, the intricate parts of stuff, how stuff works. I love that. That's me. I'm a nerd. I'm a big old geek. I love this sort of stuff. So this whole arc is for me. Because we get to find out the science behind so many things. Not just science on a technological level, but science on an anatomical level, on a physical level, on an anatomy level. I'm ready for this arc to learn so much. And if this is in fact the arc where we get to learn the specifics of devil fruits, how they function, how they change a person's lineage factor in order to give them superpowers, because that's what that concept is called, I can't wait. Karma, I'm so happy. It'd be crazy and funny if Hibari is Sakazuki's daughter, and it'd be crazier if his introduction to his future father-in-law is that literally tried to kill him almost 500 chapters ago. A Kainu? A father-in-law? They playing Guess Who's Coming to Dinner, and Kobe's playing Sidney Poitier. Whew! I don't want to think about that, because, Kainu tried to kill him earlier. This is the guy you're getting married to? Hey, I remember you. You're the one who was sniveling and crying during the Paramount War. It's because of red hair that you're still alive. Like, I can imagine that's the conversation that could go between. That's way out there. That's way out there. But it'd be silly. It'd be silly. But Helmeppo is crying, going, "But we're so close to Egghead, we could take the Seraphim." And then Prince Gruss goes, "Have you lost your minds? Take a step back and reassess. We don't even have contact with Drake at this point." So Drake is still out there. Either he's still recovering, or he just hasn't gotten in contact with Sword. Because remember, he's part of Sword. There's nothing we can do. Get it through your heads. Then it cuts to Team Luffy, as Jewelry Bonnie is trying to remind Luffy who she is. As she's wringing off her shirt, just sitting bareback to Luffy and crew. And she says, "I'm Bonnie, and just to be clear, we're enemies, but thanks for saving me." No prob, Boggy. Just another ongoing trend of Luffy not remembering people's names. Now, the reason why I said bareback is because this is a situation that Sanji would turn to stone in. Because she's wringing out her clothes, and she's just, like, exposed. If Hibari is actually Akainu's daughter, then that makes him killing that one soldier in Marineford even more cruel. I mean, Akainu's always been cruel. This dude had no problem using a buster call to destroy the island of Ohara, or at least raze it to the ground, with Robin being the only survivor, all in the pursuit of absolute justice. This dude really doesn't have any sort of chill at all. Which you think he would get by hanging around a man who's literally chilly. You would think, but probably not. But yeah, Akainu is not what you would call just straight up evil. But he's chaotic. I wouldn't say he's even chaotic neutral, just chaotic. So Traffy, Jaggy, and Boggy. Yeah, this is just an ongoing trend of Luffy just making up nicknames for people. And as everyone is drying off their clothes, including Jinbei, and Luffy's drying off his clothes, and then Jewelry Bonnie acknowledges that Luffy doesn't look the way he looks in his bounty poster, because his bounty poster gives him the appearance of him being in Gear 5. So now everyone is going to be wondering, why does Luffy look this way in his bounty poster? No one will truly know the true specifics of why he looks that way. But Luffy says, what does that mean and what happened? Bonnie says, what does that mean and what happened to your crew? And they're fine, I bet. The papers were making a big deal over you. And Luffy says, oh, that's what I look like when I'm free. And then it shows Luffy flexing with his arms curving in the same cartoonish way that his Gear 5 body does when he's using his power. It's not like him just regularly flexing in a normal state. His body looks like it's big up top and then narrows down at the bottom, and he looks like your classic cartoon strongman in this one instance, like in this one small panel here. So it's a little bit of a homage to his Gear 5 state. And then Jinbei goes, what about your ship and crew? I came here alone. That metal monster ate my ship, says Bonnie. Speaking of eating, I'm hungry. And then it shows that Chopper and Luffy are hungry as well. And then there's all like, yeah, I'm starving too. Let's look for a restaurant, which they have absolutely no idea where they are. And then Bonnie says, this is a government island. Let me explain. It's called Egghead, a place 500 years in the future, they say. The island that houses Dr. Vegapunk's laboratory. Vegapunk? Hey, I know that name. Yeah, and I'm gonna give him a piece of my mind. And then it cuts to the giant robot that was holding the sun, holding up the Sunny as the rest of the crew looks at this giant robot holding the Sunny. This robot is massive. If General Frankie is big enough to stand up next to the Sunny a little bit, this robot is big enough to... Okay, so in a comparison, General Frankie is small enough to fit in this giant robot's hand. General Frankie is already big, but this mech, this giant mech, is so big it can hold, if it wanted to, it could hold both the Sunny and General Frankie in both of its hands, if it wanted to. And everyone's surprised to see it, including Frankie and Usopp, who are all like, giant robot! And then the cockpit opens as the person inside goes, no good, another failure, blasted. Why isn't it possible to control the urges of living creatures? And then Sanji goes, look, someone popped out. And then she starts to take her goggles off and takes her helmet off, and she goes, well, drat. And then Frankie goes, I don't know who that is, but thanks for saving us, whoever you are. And then the woman goes, the only things I ordered the Mecha Shark to do were recon, report, and bombard. Don't want it to eat anything because no valuables are left behind. An error in the programming, I suppose. Now, just a moment, you filthy pirates. Who said anything about saving you? I'm just a humble genius scientist hired by the government. You can call me Dr. Vegapunk. And this is where things started to make me question a lot. Because ever since my reaction, that robot is a cross between King the Wildfire and the Iron Giant. Is it? The Vegapunk robot looks like Iron Giant. It really does. Someone brought that up during my reaction, but the ending of this chapter brought up so many questions. The biggest question is, this person is calling themselves Dr. Vegapunk. What we've known of Vegapunk after all this time is that they refer to Vegapunk as an old dude. But then a lot of different theories started coming to my head, and from you guys as well when I read through this chapter. We know that Vegapunk is the smartest person in the entire world. We know this because this dude has created basically a whole bunch of different things. And we know that he's dabbled in cloning. We know that he's dabbled in experimentation with Lunarian DNA. This dude has basically done it all. I mean, he's the reason why Bartholomew Kuma is a pacifista the way he is right now. He created the pacifistas. He created the Seraphim pacifistas. He created the coding that goes underneath a Navy ship. He created cyborgs. All the advancements that Frankie has in his body is old stuff that Vegapunk used to have. And now now here's the thing is, the reason why I'm like questioning so much is that literally anything is possible with Vegapunk. For all we know, the Vegapunk that we've known after all these years, the old dude, could just be either one of two things. The official Vegapunk, a robot that is there for appearances. Well, actually, yeah, those are the only two things. The real Vegapunk or a robot created to keep up for appearances so that the real Vegapunk can stay on Egghead and just keep making stuff. Or this woman is the real Vegapunk or a robot created by him to keep up in appearances. Now, let me elaborate further before anyone says anything. The reason why I think that this is not the real Vegapunk is because specifically on her jacket, it says Punk number 2. Now, if I was like a big scientist person that takes great pride in my work and the stuff that I do, I would have a jumpsuit that has the number 1 on there. I'm the head scientist, I'm number 1. That's just visual storytelling right there. But this person here, calling themselves Dr. Vegapunk, has a 2 on their chest, which makes me think that this is the second in command of the real Vegapunk that we know, and she just has the last name, which comes up to what Karma is saying. I think, as well as Karma, that this is either someone related to Vegapunk, or she could just be an android he created that he calls his daughter. Either one of those two things. We've seen those types of stories before. Pinocchio, Aelita, the list goes on. So, I'm just thinking that the real Vegapunk is not her, but she's affiliated to Vegapunk in some sort of way. That's just my entire take on this whole chapter. He's been referenced multiple times as an old man. No way he's actually a young woman. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. I'm just putting those ideas out there, but I'm sticking by that this is a person that is related, possibly related to Vegapunk. Because you can just tell a lot of things just from visuals. It's the Punk number 2 on her jumpsuit that really does it for me. That really does it for me. That makes me think that she is not the actual Vegapunk that we've always known, but she's related to him. And I'm pretty sure that you can have two people have the same doctor and same last names, like Dr. Vegapunk over here, Dr. Vegapunk over there, and there's no distinction between the two in terms of knowing who is who unless you actually see these two people in the same room together. So that's just my idea. But this is where things are really going to get interesting for One Piece. Now, mind you, we're still on break. The next chapter doesn't appear for the next 10 days. Things are about to get very majorly interesting for One Piece. Because what have we learned in the past several arcs? We've learned about how strong Yonkos are. We learned about different applications of haki. Like in Whole Cake Island, we learned that there was another level of observation, which allows you to see into the future. Then we move over to Wano, where we learn that there's another level of armament haki and another level of conqueror's haki that allows one to not only use armament haki to pass haki into an individual or an object to hit it from the inside without actually touching it, but Conqueror's haki can be used to increase the power of your attacks and allows you to hit people without actually touching them, kind of like Sage Jutsu from Naruto. We've learned so many different new concepts with every single new arc. This is the one where we're probably going to get some of the most important ones. Because I don't think you can get any more advanced when it comes to technological advancements and science than the main island of Vegapunk. I don't think you can get any more advanced than that. This is where we're going to get some of the most important exposition about One Piece. Did I not turn off autofocus? Oh no, it's on. Hey Scam, what are you doing on my stream? Be gone. I thought my focus was getting lost there for a second. But this is this whole arc that we're sitting in right now is probably going to be one of the most important and most chock full of information arcs that we get for all of One Piece. I feel. That's how I feel. I feel like the next one we get after that is like full information about the Void Century, and then, you know, everything leading up to the eventual confrontation of Laugh-Tale. But I feel like with this introduction of us landing on the island of the head scientists of One Piece, the smartest man in the world, I feel like we're going to get told so many new things. I really hope that this is the arc where we get explained what devil fruits are, how Vegapunk has done everything we've done everything we've seen in the series when it comes to technological advancements. I can't wait for Frankie to get his hands on some brand new stuff for him, because the man has been using the same stuff and has nothing new. And we still haven't seen Logia Awakenings. We could also get Mad's lore. We could get so much lore. How Vegapunk came up with the SSG, how he came up with the pacifistas, literally learn who he is. No more off the camera views, no more from the neck down views. We will finally be able to see the man Vegapunk himself. This is the arc where we get to see Vegapunk, and I am looking forward to it. Because when he's revealed, so many things are going to get revealed to us as well. Which brings me back to who was it that said, what possible big bad could we get in this arc? Because that's a very good question. I think it was actually Karma who said it. Karma said it, and someone else said it about big villains for this arc. I can't think of any major villains concerning this arc. This doesn't seem like a major villain arc that we're entering in right now. This is a arc, but I don't think we have a major villain that is probably going to be facing off against this. Well, against Luffy and the crew in this story. So excited to hear the whole story of Devil Fruits. Hams, so am I. Also, my goodness, I didn't notice, but you've been a member for 6 months. Good Lord, I can't believe I have members. Oh! But this is a good time for One Piece. This is such a good time for One Piece. Can I be honest here? I love the fact that we don't know anything. For so many years. Actually, you know what? Let's do a little bit of a recount. And before I end this chapter, we need to go through the big notes that are through here. So, the Thousand Sunny is attacked by a mechanical shark. I've been through this before, but some things have been updated since the chapter released. Jinbei jumps off the ship to rescue Luffy, Chopper, and Bonnie. The four are attacked by the shark's weapon, sending them away. The Sunny is shown to have a turbine engine, which means that if the Sunny's sails are not up to par, then they can just use the turbine engine to propel the Sunny forward. So they not only have coup de burst, they not only have their sails, but now they have extra propulsion underneath it if the sails are out of commission. So there really is no way to stop the Sunny, even if you tried. The Sunny, Thousand Sunny, with the rest of the crew, gets knocked underwater by the shark's torpedoes. The Marine Base G-14 and Vice Admiral Dahl are introduced. Tashigi and the children from Punk Hazard are at the base. The children are revealed to have been regularly taking medicine, which has been slowly helping them shrink back down to normal size. Happy for the kids of Punk Hazard. I'm so happy that there's something happening to them that's good. And when they get back to their regular size, they'll be able to return to their parents. They've been away from their parents for so long. I can't wait to see these kids get to see their parents again. Vegapunk could be the villain of the arc, but you never know. Imagine the Five Elders' reaction to Luffy being on Vegapunk's island. Imagine finding out that Luffy, one of the Yonko, is there on the island of the world government's most valued asset. And he's just there. See, they already have an issue with Luffy awakening the Hito Hito no Mi. They already got an issue with him awakening a devil fruit that they could never get their hands on. Imagine the girls losing their minds when they find out that Luffy's on the same island as Vegapunk himself. Helmeppo and a sword member named Hibari are seen with the Marine group who tried to capture Chiffon. Helmeppo and the aforementioned Marine group's leader, Prince Gruss, are confirmed to be a part of Sword. Helmeppo and Hibari attempt to request a Seraphim to help rescue Kobe from the Blackbeard pirates, but are denied. According to Gruss, Drake has lost contact with them for a while. Luffy, Chopper, and Jinbei and Bonnie land on Egghead. Bonnie reveals that she came to Egghead to deal with Vegapunk, so now it raises a question of why Bonnie's there. Why is Bonnie there? Luffy and the crew just happened to... This is just like Punk Hazard, because think about it. Luffy and the crew did not go to Punk Hazard on purpose. They were just sailing past it and then just got a transmission from Kinemon, who was on the island at the time. They had no intention of going to Punk Hazard, just like they had no intention of going to Island Full-A-Lead. This is the second time that we're getting a series of events where the Straw Hats just happen across an island again. This is the second instance. The first instance was like several long arcs that had us go up against Doflamingo and then meet up on Zou and then go to Whole Cake Island, deal with Big Mom, and then go to Wano, deal with Kaido, deal with Big Mom again, find out all this brand new stuff, all because the Straw Hats just happened to come across Punk Hazard and the transmission from Kinemon. This is another instance of them coming across another island again. Was Egghead the island on the log post? I don't know. It could have been. Maybe. If it was, then that pretty much just throws my whole, this is another island that just came across out the window. But this is just another situation where I don't know. I don't know if they actually came to this island on purpose. But yeah, I'm just thinking about, why is Bonnie there? Why is Bonnie there, and what deal does she have? Why is she going there to deal with Vegapunk? What's the deal there? And then the rest of the Straw Hats, along with Caribou, are saved by a giant robot who fights off the shark. The pilot of the robot is revealed to be a young woman claiming to be Vegapunk. So that's the end. That's the end of all the chapters we got in September, which I thought were pretty good. And the fact, and I come back to this statement again. I am so happy that we have no idea. We have no idea where we're going with One Piece, because we've known. Actually, I was supposed to look this up. Let me go back to Punk Hazard and find out the year that started in. So Punk Hazard, first appearance, main setting of the Punk Hazard arc. Now, the Punk Hazard arc started in 2012. 10 years. We have known where we are going through the course of One Piece. 10 years we've known. And now we're entering, for the first time in 10 years, we have no idea where the story is going to go. We have no heading. If I want to get on a, like a shipwright terms, we have absolutely no idea what direction we're going in. We're being dragged by Oda at this point. At one point during Punk Hazard, all the way through every single arc, we had a rough idea of where we were going. We have no idea where we're going now. We just landed on the island of Vegapunk and literally have no idea where things are going to happen. We have no idea where they're going to go after this. We are completely oblivious, and I'm happy. I'm happy that we're oblivious, because this is going to be the most exciting moment of One Piece we've had in a decade, because we have no idea what to expect. It's already started out on a good foot with these chapters, but we have absolutely no idea what to expect going forward, especially landing on the island of the world's most foremost scientists, on an island said to be 500 years into the future, coming across another member of the worst generation, Blackbeard showing up to Amazon Lily and kidnapping Kobe. Just so many events are happening right there. we have no idea which way is up. Did you notice that Oda split the crew again? Yes, he split the crew again. We have Jinbei, Chopper, and Luffy separated from the rest of the crew, and they're with Bonnie, where we have the rest of the crew who are meeting up with Dr. Vegapunk, this person claiming to be Dr. Vegapunk. So the crew is split up again. I'm so happy. I'm so happy about the random nature of the story happening right now. There's still a direction, but I'm just so happy that we have no idea what to try and guess what will happen next. We just don't. This is the most empty-headed most of us have been in 10 years. And I'm looking forward to seeing these next few chapters as we get into, because apparently this is called the Egghead Arc. So I can't wait to see what this story offers us in terms of information and direction as to where Luffy and the crew are going to go. Take care, Kyushu, and stay safe. You heading out, Ogata-san? Hey, you stay safe out there. We got hurricane winds trying to make its way up here in North Carolina. So anyone who's along the East Coast, y'all be safe. But I'm just happy that we're entering into a new phase of One Piece that we have absolutely no idea where to guess where the direction is going to go. Need Vegapunk to give Frankie the sickest power-up ever? Thank you, Karma, because you're not the only one who feels this way. Frankie has been using Vegapunk's old, ancient stuff. Stuff that is still hundreds of years in the future, but they're old. Now, Frankie is at the place where he can get the most sickest upgrades imaginable for the foreseeable future. Because there's only so many times he can do Radical Beam before it starts to get kind of old. As powerful as it is, he needs a glow-up. Everyone's had a glow-up in the last arc. Everyone had major moments in the last arc. Frankie had some moments, but never a major moment to say like, oh, wow, he's actually upgraded now. Frankie doesn't have anything new. And it's high time that Frankie got some new stuff. And I can't think of any other better island for him to do it on than Vegapunk's main laboratory. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to these chapters. But this was a good reflections to talk about what the series could go in the direction, and I can just say wholeheartedly, well, we have no idea where the direction this manga is going to go for the series, and I'm okay with that because this just makes every new surprise even more. We can't figure out how the story structure is going to be because we have no idea where the story structure is going to go at all. So I'm just happy that we're in a situation where we can just enjoy Oda just giving us stuff and not know what to assume beforehand. So overall, these have been very good chapters, and I enjoyed them, and I'm looking forward to what October is going to bring us, and then November, and then December, and then we enter into 2023, a whole brand new year for One Piece. My God, I can't wait. I can't wait. It's going to be fun. But that's all I got, ladies and gentlemen. Almost 2 hours. Almost 2 hours. This was a good discussion concerning One Piece and where it's going from here on in. Starting next week, this is a channel update. Starting next week on Tuesday, I'll be starting my God of War New Game Plus playthrough, so I can play through the game again as a way of refamiliarizing myself with the series before God of War Ragnarok releases in November. Then, once I'm done with God of War, hopefully that won't take too long, I'll be playing both Bayonetta's 1 and 2 leading up to Bayonetta 3's release near the end of October. And then going into November, we have One Piece Film Red on November 4th, we have Sonic Frontiers on November 8th, and then we have God of War Ragnarok on November 9th. Those three things are going to keep me for pretty much the rest of the month. And then, of course, we have Marvel's Midnight Suns in December, but that's going to be a lot later. But should anything change, I'll keep you all informed. But just know that I'm going to be busy. I'm going to be busy, and I'm all here for it. I'm happy. I'm happy that I get to stay busy, because if I ain't working, I ain't eating, so to speak. But I'm just grateful that I get this opportunity to entertain you all, not just with One Piece, but pretty much anything else that I do. Recent finished God of War for the 4th time. You now have played on every difficulty. Karma, my man, look at you, just owning. I can't wait to play through New Game Plus as well, because it's been so long. I haven't played since like several months ago, and that's when I finally got the platinum after finding all of the Ravens in God of War. So the game has been platinumed already, and I did that while I was massively sick. Like, I wasn't even in my right mind when I got that final trophy. I was just laid up in here, covered head to toe in a blanket, playing God of War, and I couldn't even tell what time of the day it was or even what day it was, but I managed to get the Platinum Trophy during that time. So now, me playing through God of War on New Game Plus is just going to be absolute fun for me because I don't have to go trophy chasing. So, yeah, that's going to be what happens next week. Let me say that again. God of War, New Game Plus playthrough, October 4th on Tuesday. And then I'm going to be playing through that until I start playing Bayonetta. But yeah, that's what's going to be happening on the channel. Just thought I'd keep you all informed. And if anything should change, I'll let you guys know both on Discord and the community tab as well. Whichever ones you guys frequent, I'll let you know on both. So, that's all I got. The game is insane on Give Me God of War. I can only imagine the Valkyrie fights on that difficulty. I don't want to because I had enough of a time fighting them the first time. So, yeah. But that's all I got, ladies and gentlemen. Let me not take your time up any more than I already have. But I had a good time with this reflection, and I hope you all did as well. All I can say at the end of the day is, hope you all enjoyed. Can't wait to see you all in my next video. And if you're new to the channel, and you enjoyed what you saw here today, then like, subscribe, and maybe even consider becoming a member because I am always looking forward to entertaining you. So have a fantastic day, and once again, as always, later, peoples. Don't even want to know how hard the Valkyries are. I don't want to know. I don't want to know because that Sigrun, yeah, she was a handful. I don't even want to know how difficult she is on that difficulty.